Howdy everybody, and welcome to Harvey Media Reviews. Recently on the current version of the Flash TV series, we were introduced to the commonly used comic book concept of the multiverse. The idea that there are many different dimensions of reality vibrating at different speeds containing different versions of how events might have taken place. I trip in this dimension, I stub my toe in that one, but I'm clumsy in both. But in the annals of comic book history, there have been two explanations for the effects of the ravages of time travel. One is parallel dimensions, and the other is Hypertime, which is why I'd like to welcome you to a new segment on the Harvey Media Reviews show. Let me welcome you to a little ditty I like to call Harvey Media's Adventures in Hypertime! What is Hypertime? Well, it's complicated. Very complicated.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Well said, Doctor. Essentially, Hypertime is a way of looking at continuity, specifically in instances where there have been a lot of reboots, retcons, or a character staying the same age for decades. To put it simply, it's the everything happened principle. Created by Mark Waid in his miniseries The Kingdom, the idea is that time is not set in stone. In Hypertime, time flows like a river with different tributaries flowing in and out and then back into the main stream. So a character can be phased out of a story or phased back into it if need be. A character who hasn't been mentioned since the 1930s can suddenly be the most important character in a hero's backstory. Another name for it is the we can do whatever we want principle. Now this concept was introduced into the DC universe and was considered canon for a very long time, but it was extremely unpopular and has since been retconned away. Ironic, in favor of the classic multiverse version of continuity. But frankly, I prefer the Hypertime explanation. After all, I like bits of the Golden Age era of comics, I like bits of the Silver Age era, Bronze era, Steel era, Modern era. Why should I have to choose between which version I like the best? Why can't I just pick bits and pieces from everything and just jumble it up in a big old soup of Hypertime and just enjoy myself? In particular, Hypertime is very helpful for me. As I've stated many times before, I'm more familiar with the on-film appearances of a lot of my favorite characters than I am with their appearances in the comics. For instance, let's take a look at the history of one of my all-time favorite superheroes, Aquaman.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey